Well, hello and welcome back. I thought I'd take today and talk to you a little bit about irrigation for your backyard, anywhere on your property really. As you can see here, we have quite a bit in the way of flowers um, on the property here, and needless to say, this gets to be somewhat of a chore to water them, especially in hot weather. We're expecting it to be 90 here this week, and it's going to be like every day, especially for these guys, which I went a little bit ape with this year, the tomatoes. And we installed a new piece of decking, and these things go all the way around and down the other side. And needless to say, you can have to water these tomatoes maybe once, maybe twice a day in the really hot weather. And it gets to be a chore, it gets to be a problem. It takes up a lot of time. We'd spend an hour and a half back here watering in the evening. So what we decided to do is put in some drip irrigation. And let me take you up and show you what I started to do. And be right back. Okay, now you're probably saying, what the heck am I looking at? Well, when we moved into this house, it's like most houses when you buy them, it had one spigot in the back. So to put in irrigation, I had to extend that spigot, and what I did was I created this manifold you see made out of 3/4 inch PVC, and then ran the hose. I took an old piece of hose, cut it off, put an end on it, and then some quick disconnects, and ran it into the base of the manifold. All of this comes and takes off. This one here runs to the back arbor and over to the corner, the far corner of the deck. And this other one is the one we just put in for the tomatoes, and the hose reel. That one leads over to the other corner of the deck here, and we've added drip irrigation to it, so we wouldn't have to keep watering things ad nauseum. And also it makes it nice if you want to go away for a weekend. Everything just goes automatic. You don't have to have somebody come into your house, water your plants, and so on. Now let me take you around the corner here and show you what we did. Be right back. This, what you're looking at, is the timer I installed for the corner of the arbor. This heads out across the arbor and in a bunch of 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch tubing, and drip irrigates all the plants on this one side. These timers are probably the most expensive thing in the whole setup, and they're like $32. Below it, you can see here that I have a distribution node that I put a standoff in. These are made to be stood up in the garden, but I took it and turned it over and ran it into the bottom of the timer for a distribution node. And all those 1/8 inch tubes run out to each individual pot or several pots. The thing you got to watch out for with these is that you can only get maybe 5 pots on a 1/4 inch line before you start having problems with distribution and pressure in the hose. There is a fix for that, but it entails running a 1/2 inch piece of pipe, and it's not actually a pipe, it's a flexible thin hose. I'll show you that in a few minutes, but that's how that works out. Let me go over the table and I'll show you what we have. Be right back. Okay, now the bits and pieces of this system are pretty simple. You saw the timer. Basically that's hooked up with everything that's similar to a hose connection, hose thread, 3/4 inch. Here's the 1/2 inch tubing I told you about. It's fairly rigid, but I don't think I'd be burying it if I were you. It'll eventually collapse. What we do is we string it along a structure and then use a 1/2 inch pipe clamps to secure it. As far as attaching the drip irrigation to it, you can get one of these little hole poker tools, which is I think like $5, $4, I forget what it was. And basically you just punch a hole in the tubing, take your union, which would be the most common one you'd use I think, and just poke it through. Now believe it or not, that doesn't leak. It's pretty tight. And then you take your 1/8 inch tubing and attach it to the barb. Now, a tip on this tubing is pretty rigid. It doesn't give very much. So what I do is I take my barbecue lighter and I just take it and run it underneath a few times, just enough to heat up the plastic. Makes it real soft, and then you can come over here, push it on, and it'll go all the way over top of the barb and down to the bottom, and as it cools it'll shrink a little and seal up the barb. Now if you want to take it off at some point in time for some reason, just heat it up and pull it off again, and it should work fairly well. Don't cut it off, because you'll just score the barb, and then when you put a new one on, it'll leak like crazy. As far as this goes, there are a number of ways of connecting them. This happens to be a 90-degree angle. They're all compression fittings, and you just basically slide it in. They're pretty tight. You might want to throw maybe a little bit of lightweight oil or maybe olive oil or something around the edge so that you can slide it in. This one is for connecting to the timer. Basically, again, compression fitting, screw it up into the timer, you're ready to go. The starter kit that you get from Home Depot, it's about $11, $12. It comes with a whole bunch of stuff in it. It comes with a bunch of tubing, a whole bunch of fittings. This is a true drip irrigation, and I think it's a ½ gallon per hour or something like that it drips out. And it comes with valves, which, as far as I'm concerned, they're not the best in the world. They will shut it off, but if you're trying to regulate, forget it. It doesn't regulate all that well. It's better for you just to figure out how much time you need, set the timer, and go with that. And they also have standoff soakers with 180-degree spray, 360-degree spray, 90-degree spray, basket sprayers, just about anything you can think of. They have it. Figure out what you need, make a list, and just go down to Home Depot and pick up everything you need. For about $100, you're in good shape. You have just about everything you need to build a drip irrigation system out of this tube. Now, if you're going to go with the ½ inch tube, you're going to need these other pieces, plus a 50-foot roll of this, which I think is like $8. And it's easy to cut. You just cut it with a pair of scissors. And that's about it. Oh, one tip: don't leave your timer out in the weather over the winter. Undo it and bring it in. I found that if it freezes enough, the inside pieces will break and it will leak like a sieve and won't work properly. Also, the timers have two AA batteries in the back, and every year you'll have to change those out. Fortunately, it's only once a year, and actually I've never had a pair of batteries run out. I always just change them the next year just because it seems like a good idea. Other than that, this is a great way to go. It really will alleviate you with a lot of watering. It will stop wasting water because it will put the water only where you want it. You don't have to remember when the last time you watered was. The timer will do it automatically, and it's fairly inexpensive to do. So think about it, give it a try. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you have any questions, just ask. I'll see if I'll do my best to get back to you. And I think that's about it. You have a great rest of the week, and we'll be talking to you later. Bye.